Today's ride will be in Millsite Canyon. That's near Queen Valley, Arizona, off Highway 60. Now, this is a great off road adventure area. Think of it as the western part of the Montana mountain area. And we have 5 UTVs today, side by sides, ready for desert climbs. Fantastic scenic views from ridge tops. There might even be a Segway Villain tip or two. As always, there will be fun. Now, I'm driving my Segway Villain. Gary, he's in his tipsy 50-inch Can-Am Trail. Brian and Joanne, they're in their Polaris Razor. Dean and Wade, they're also on a Polaris Razor. And so is Beverly. So that's 3 Razors. We're ready for adventure. There's a huge parking area here, and finally, I actually remembered to take a picture of all the machines before we took off. We're looking pretty good, nice and clean. So we start off on a dirt road, part of the Montana Mountain Loop. It's rated a 4 out of 10, certainly not down here. This is a road. Almost any vehicle can make it through here, so you really got to watch out for traffic. It is a warm day, so you'll notice the windshield is open on the Villain. This thing is hot inside with that windshield closed. This is just perfect. And look, it rained recently. Once we turn left onto 1900, it's a trail now, not a dirt road. It becomes a lot more fun, a little more narrow, rough, twisty, turny, intersections all over the place. Yep, this is fun. I've used dust trails to let me know when someone is coming, but after the rain we just had, it's kind of damp and dust trails are not going to save me. I have to be extra careful. The air is so clean today and clear, and just look at the vistas. I love it. 1900 is a great trail. The terrain changes constantly, as does the smoothness or roughness of the road, and here it's pretty nice. We are heading further back into the canyon, and the road will change dramatically as we get back there. There's a little shortcut that will take you up to this hilltop where we want to have lunch. And it's a lot more fun than just following the road, which makes, it goes up and then hangs left and kind of comes back to get to the top of the hill. This is a bit more challenging. I mean, the first time we did it, we were a lot of butt puckering. But hey, we've done the ride a few times, so not quite as exciting, but it is still very exciting. This is a steady climb for over 2 minutes to get to the top, and every time you go around a corner you think you're almost there, and you look and you see it keeps going straight on up, and it gets steeper and rockier and rougher and more turns. It brings a big smile up to our face. It's a great way to get to lunch. What fun. Here's a shot of Dean going up that same stretch, just to give you an idea of how much fun this really is. After eating lunch, we all posed for a photo, and you can get an idea. The view up here was pretty nice. The climb up here was a lot of fun, but the descent is quite a bit of fun as well. And check out the views. The scenery is awesome, but pay attention to the road. You don't want to crash. Now that you've seen what it looks like from inside the Villain, here's what it looks like standing on the ground with Dean coming down the hill. It is steep. At this point, 1900 is Millsite Canyon Trail, and it just keeps going way back up into the canyon, and eventually, 4,000 feet or something, it intersects with the Montana Mountain Loop. And the terrain is going to get more rocky and narrow the further up we go. It's getting pretty exciting. None of us have been up here before, so we're just going with following Onyx. The map says go this way, and eventually we should get up to the Montana Mountain Loop, which would be a very easy way back. Is that what we're going to do? I don't know. The terrain is going to make me decide what I want to do, and we'll see what everybody else thinks. But it sure is fun so far. I did go the wrong way just for a moment, and everybody had to back up, so we'll try it this way. We encountered this motorcyclist on foot carrying his helmet and offered to give him a ride on up the mountain. Well, here's the short version of the story. He hit a rock, fell over, it busted a hole in the side of his engine, all the oil poured out. So it needs a recovery, maybe some spare parts. He has a friend on a bike behind him. They were both pretty tired, but decided they would just keep on heading out. And if the trail got smoother, if they made it that far, then he could ride on the back of his friend's bike. It was a little too rough right here. So he warned us about all the rocks the further up we went. He said it was really going to get rocky and rough, which made me a little concerned as we continued on up the hill. It didn't take very long after the motorcyclist to start seeing the road he was describing. Now, it wasn't quite as bad as what he had described yet, but as we continued along, it got more narrow, more rocky, bigger rocks. The things started closing in on the sides. Without him telling me all this, I think I would have been comfortable to keep on going, but he was certainly making me question my decisions at this point. So, I decided I wanted to turn around, and I stopped and I asked everybody what they thought, and it was kind of a mixed bag, but they agreed. If a couple of us really didn't want to go on up that way, let's just turn around and go back and try to have fun going in the other direction. And that's what we did. It was sort of a tight spot to get 5 vehicles turned around, but we pulled it off. Some people made it look super easy. I would say I did not, but we got it done. Since I was the first one into this tight turnaround, I was the last one out. Now Beverly's in front of me, and you can see how her machine is handling this terrain. It is narrow. Her machine is 72 inches, so is mine. So she's pretty much experiencing what I'm going to experience when I go through some of these spaces. I was very disappointed that I decided to turn around, but I gotta say I'm having fun on the way back. Now that I know what the terrain looks like, I'm quite comfortable. When I hear a little scrape, I know it's nothing major. I know I can fit however narrow a space is, and we're watching for the motorcyclist. But we never saw him again, so I guess the walker became a passenger and they headed on home. We were probably halfway back to the staging area and started noticing these orange plastic strips being held down by rocks. And then we saw a helicopter, an airplane flying around, and a bunch of parked vehicles, so of course we had to pull over and find out what was going on. They were practicing putting out fires. Pretty cool. We decided at this point we wanted to have more fun, so just heading straight back to the staging area wasn't the answer. So once again, we made a U-turn and headed back towards where we had lunch. Now I'm going to let you watch Gary go up this hill. I'll put a little music on. I think it's just entertaining watching him bounce up and down. See what you think. This trail will take us all the way out to Queen Valley, right past the golf course, and then pavement back to where we parked. This next section, we're going to go down for a ways, a little bit steep, and then we're going to get to one of the funnest parts of the whole ride. I don't care if you're going up or down the hill. You watch, see what you think. I think it's a lot of fun. I've done this a couple times, so it's going to look pretty easy, I think, from my point of view, because I know where to put the tires and just go right on through. You may hear a little scrape as I drop off that 3-foot face. But I'm going to pull over and park and go back and video others coming down so you can get a better idea of what I just drove through. This first section, is important to stay to the passenger side. If you get over towards the edge or the driver's side, you will be so tilty, it starts to get very scary. You could possibly roll off here. Plus, the closer you get to the edge, the rocks look like they might just give way and let you go right on over the edge. So once again, tire placement is key. I'm always impressed and how Gary maintains control no matter how that thing bounces around. That's got to be a scary ride in there. It looks that way from the outside anyhow. Now let's see what the drop-off looks like. This is about a 3-foot drop, and here comes Beverly. Well, I got to say, they both made that look pretty easy. So the first time I came through here, I remember a lot of butt puckering. Maybe that's just because it was the first time and I was so new. Not quite as exciting, but I still love it. I think Brian has a lot more experience perhaps than the rest of us, and watch the articulation as he goes through here. He picks a pretty good path, and I think this is the very first time he's ever been through here. Impressive. Well, that's it for this recording. Use the comment section below if you want to share your experience at this location or maybe recommend an area that you really enjoy. Please keep it clean. Want this to be a family-oriented channel, so review what you type before you submit it. Thanks. I apologize if you happen to hear something during the ride's recording that may not sound family-oriented. I will try very hard not to let certain words slip out during an exciting moment. We'll see how that works. If you found this video helpful or just enjoyed it, please hit the like button below. Share the link with your friends. Be sure to subscribe so you can easily keep up with my latest videos, which will continue to cover things like Segway Villain owners' area of interest, reviews of accessories, where to ride, tips about the Villain, how-to videos, and lots more. Yep, there's going to be more. Thanks for watching.